Hello to all. I'm Gokul Raj from fourth year Mechatronics, and this is my seminar for managerial economics on the topic law of variable proportions. So let's get into it. Law of variable proportion. So law of variable proportion, also known as law of diminishing returns, is an economic principle that describes the relationship between inputs and outputs in the short run. So it states that as one input is increased while keeping other inputs constant, there will come a point where the marginal product of that input will start to decline. So what this law essentially conveys is that the production of goods and services involves various inputs such as labor, capital, raw materials, etc., to obtain a fixed or to obtain a desired output. In the short run, when some of these inputs are fixed while others are variable, increasing the quantity of a variable input will initially lead to an increased output. However, beyond a certain point, the additional output gained from each additional unit of variable input will start to diminish. So this is the crux of the law of variable proportion. This occurs due to several factors, including limited capacity of the fixed inputs, decreasing efficiency of the variable input, and diminishing returns of specialization, and also division of labor. So, what are the three stages of law of variable proportion? The first stage is stage of increasing returns. This stage, also known as stage of diminishing marginal productivity. The addition of variable input leads to an increase in output at an increasing rate. That is the first stage, that is stage of increasing returns. This occurs because the fixed inputs such as land or capital are not fully utilized to their potential. Uh, as a result, the marginal product of the variable input increases. This stage is characterized by improving productivity, economies of scale, and efficient utilization of the resources that is present with us. Stage of diminishing returns. This is the stage after the stage of increasing returns. This comes at a point where the marginal product of the variable input starts to diminish. In this stage, the addition of more units of variable input leads to less than proportional increase of the output. The fixed inputs become limiting factors now. And as more variable inputs are added, they may experience diminishing productivity and reduction in efficiency. This could be due to factors like overcrowding, limited access to resources, or reduced efficiency of these variable inputs. Despite diminishing returns, the total output continues to increase, but at a decreased rate in this stage. The last stage is stage of negative returns. If the input of the variable factor continues to increase beyond the stage of diminishing returns, a point is eventually reached where the marginal product of the variable input becomes negative. This means that the additional units of variable inputs result in a decrease in the total output. The negative return occurs when the fixed inputs are overwhelmed by the excessive quantities of the variable input, leading to inefficiency, congestion, or other factors that will ultimately hinder the production, thus reducing the output. This stage is also referred to as the stage of disintegration. Now let us understand the law of variable proportion better with a practical example. So let us take a farmer who has a land, let's say X acres of land. He hires more labor. At first, as more people come, each worker will do more work, and this will lead to an increase in output initially. So the farmer, looking at this, will hires more people to increase his output. However, eventually, after crossing a certain limit, adding more and more people will only lead to reduction in output, as there will be overcrowding, less access to resources. So unless and until the farmer tries to increase the fixed inputs, that is in this case it could be the land, the output will not increase if the farmer keeps on increasing the number of people working there. So this is a practical example of law of variable proportion. So conclusion. So the law of variable proportion is an important concept in economics, particularly in production theory and determining optimal input combinations. It helps explain why increasing the quantity of a particular input does not always result in the increase of an output. As we saw in the previous example, increasing the number of workers working in a particular piece of land will not automatically lead to increase in output after a particular point. And it also highlights the importance of balancing inputs to achieve efficient production levels. So these are some of my references. Thank you.